Imagine that your grandmother was suffering from a heart attack and that she needed medical attention. Now imagine that she was in a village, remote, over 600 miles away from the nearest hospital in Anchorage. That's exactly what happened to Christine Dushkin of King Cove, Alaska. She was 67 and needed to be medevaced out across the water 11 miles to the nearest all-weather airport in Cold Bay. Once she arrived by fishing boat medevac, she had to climb up a 20-foot ladder. Halfway up the ladder, she passed away from exertion. She fell just short of the runway and the life-saving medical attention that she so desperately needed. King Cove is a remote, isolated village that is constantly being battled by storm, hurricane-force winds, and dense fog. It's on the south side of the Alaska Peninsula. There are predominantly 925 Aleut residents who live there. The only airport in King Cove is a small, unpaved airstrip that is only accessible 70% of the time because of bad weather. For more than 35 years now, the residents of King Cove have been advocating for an 11-mile road that would connect the communities of King Cove and Cold Bay together. To prevent any further deaths like this of Christine happening, the residents of King Cove need a road that will be safe, reliable, and affordable for them in cases of emergency so they can get to this all-weather airport in Cold Bay. The only problem is that the road would have to travel through the wilderness. Because of this, it would require congressional approval. The frequent severe weather that makes travel by boat or plane in and out of King Cove only 70% of the time makes it nearly impossible to get out whenever there is an emergency. Studies have found that other modes of transportation that are non-road related are either not feasible due to the bad weather or are too expensive for a small village such as King Cove to handle. A road connecting King Cove and Cold Bay is the most reliable, affordable, and safest option. However, it would need congressional approval. The severe weather that only allows travel into King Cove by boat or plane 70% of the time is critical when emergencies arise. Without a full-time clinic position in King Cove, residents have to travel to Anchorage for any heart, respiratory illness, or trauma in childbirth. According to the Aleutians East Borough website, 19 deaths have been attributed to the lack of safe and reliable transportation between King Cove and Cold Bay's all-weather airport. This is either because residents have had to wait out the storm for hours or sometimes even days, or they've attempted to cross by plane or boat and have not made it due to a fatal plane crash. The U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources website states that then Secretary of the Interior Sally Jewell rejected a small one-lane gravel road through the wilderness in 2013. Since then, 62 medevacs have happened, where citizens have had to wait hours and sometimes even days to get medical attention that they needed. Studies have found that other modes of transportation that are non-road related were either not feasible or too expensive for a small village such as King Cove. On March 29, 2016, a press release from Senator Lisa Murkowski's office stated that the Department of the Interior commissioned a study by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that confirmed that transportation with other non-road related options would either be more expensive or less reliable, or in some cases both. These options included a ferry, a helicopter, and an all-new airport in King Cove. Another press release by the offices of Bill Walker, Senator Dan Sullivan, and Senator Lisa Murkowski, as well as the Aleutians East Borough, all confirmed that the road is the most reliable, safest, and most affordable option for connection between King Cove and Cold Bay. A road can only happen with congressional approval because it cuts through the Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge. A press release by the Aleutians East Borough stated that in 1980, the federal government designated the land between the communities of Cold Bay and King Cove as the Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge. This land was designated as a wildlife refuge without consulting any of the natives that lived there or informing them that this was a decision that was going to happen. In 2013, then Secretary of the Interior Sally Jewell rejected the small gravel road that would travel through the Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge. Jewell claimed that it would cause irreversible damage to the refuge and the surrounding wildlife. To review my points, the frequent bad weather that makes travel by boat or plane in and out of King Cove only possible 70% of the time is crucial when medical emergencies arise and citizens need to get to Cold Bay so that they have a connection to the outside world in their all-weather airport. Studies have found that there are no other non-road options that are both feasible due to the poor weather or that are affordable for such a small village. A road connecting King Cove to Cold Bay is the most reliable, safest, and affordable, but would need congressional approval to happen. The residents of King Cove have been battling and are desperate for this road to connect them to Cold Bay's all-weather airport. Traditional routes by land were closed as a result of the Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge. These people have inhabited the land for more than 4,000 years, and when the land was designated a wildlife refuge back in 1980, they were completely left out of the decision. As medevac numbers continue to climb, in decades of advocating, the residents of King Cove are still hopeful that they will get the congressional approval that they so desperately need.